Welcome to SveNFL.
What is up, y'all?
It's Jonathan Rollins.
Schif me, Sarah.
Two Americans living in Sweden talking about local parks.
Let's go with the local park.
I'm lying. We're not talking about local parks.
That would be a very shitty podcast.
Did you see the birds? We'd have to whisper.
I feel like all the local parks are more or less the same. Yeah, more or less the same. Pretty much.
Kind of.
Right?
We're gonna move soon, and I can't wait to learn the parks. I've heard there's a lot of good parks over in our future neighborhood.
Have you ever been to you must have been to the park over here in Aspudden, right?
I call it ass pudding, but
Ass pudding. You know, the 4-H farm park where they got the horses and rabbits and...
No, I haven't been there.
What? Bro.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I remember the first time I came to my future neighborhood. We moved to Sweden. We had our apartment all sorted, but we got here in like June, and we didn't have access to the apartment until July. And so I came into town just to kind of be like, all right, let's go look at the neighborhood. I rolled up in Aspudden and walked through, and all of a sudden I basically hit a little farm with like, goats and horses and rabbits. What else do they have? They had some pigs.
They had pigs too?
I was like, what the fuck?
That sounds like a full breakfast. Did they have pigs?
Yeah, exactly. They had the full English. You just gotta kill it yourself.
And some beans on the side.
Mm-hmm. No, Aspudden is one of the few parks, actually.
We're talking parks right now.
But we are actually talking about parks.
It's park talk.
I was more excited about that than I expected. Repping for my hood, man.
Repping for your hood, man. Yeah, it caught me off guard. I didn't know you were. I didn't know you were ready for that. I am smiling despite bitter and deep sadness. When I at one point in the season, I thought that there was no way that anybody was going to ever figure out my team's electric, explosive offense.
Yep.
And now it looks like my team might not make the playoffs, especially with the recent news that the worst of the team looked might be back because the quarterback might be out.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle it, the whole concussion protocol thing. It certainly wasn't a very good Christmas present for you, Christmas Day.
Hell no.
And the Dolphins
start out just kicking ass. It was like, okay, we got another one. It was going to be another chill Sunday, and then just screech to a halt again. It seems like teams get shocked at first, and then they just recover and then just shut it down. The last 4 games. Even the 49ers game. Miami just came out, boom, first play, touchdown. Then it was just like, that's it. Screeching halt. Not even like slow it down. Just screeching halt. But we'll talk about that more, man. The flip 'em and pick 'em. Another year where, I didn't know I invested in flip 'em and pick 'em, but it's like it's hurting. The first year I was ahead, right? And then the rules were tainted and skewed to you.
What?
And then in the playoffs, you came back and beat me. Then the second year, you just boat raced me, just mollywopped me the whole year. And then this year, the rules change, and I might possibly lose twice. Like under the new rules, I could lose the regular season, then go into the playoffs, clean slate, and lose again. So that's just great.
Maybe you're a little more like your Miami Dolphins than you like to admit.
I started off out of the gates, just boom, 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 and now
screeching halt.
Screeching fucking halt. But how you feel after this week?
You
learn more about your QB.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think I said
That's where we're at with you, right?
Yeah, and I think I said last week that I was ready for this to be over. I was not. I mean, yeah, everybody in the NFC South entered into this week mathematically relevant as far as winning the division. But I never. I was done. I was done. I'm ready for them. I'm really excited for next year, honestly, because this will be the first year under the Arthur Smith regime where he's going to have some cap space to work with, and a lot of it. A lot of it. I think we have the second. I think we have maybe the first or second most cap space for next year. And there's a lot of promising things, pieces on this team. Tyler Algier was a big surprise this year.
Yes.
And Drake London, despite we'll get into that later. I think he's been good too, but
is Drake London a white dude or a light-skinned brother?
He's mixed. His
mixed.
Dad is black and his mom is white.
Okay. So according to us, he's mixed. According to the police, he's a dangerous black man.
Right. He is jet black.
And according to the NFL, he's just a human.
Right. Exactly.
Racism is ended. Yeah, you're right.
Over.
They're number 2 cap space. God damn, the Bears cap space next year, $123 million.
Unfortunately, it feels like it might be the wrong year to have a lot of cap space because there just aren't that many free agents as there were last year.
Yeah, but if there's like, say there's 4.
Yeah.
And you're them.
I think it's been a long time since I've seen the Falcons be active in free agency, so I don't know.
Y'all got $70 million.
It'll be really interesting to see what they do. Yeah.
I think we should delve into the free agents big time. We haven't done that in an offseason yet. We've talked about it, but I want to because we've deep dived into coaching. We've deep dived into histories of the teams.
True.
And we haven't really done a full, because free agency is hard, man. Because it's it's over 100 players every time.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be fun to delve into it.
Well, I know one player that might be available at the
Tom Brady.
Season. Well, Tom Brady's always seems to be available, does he not? Yeah. Wouldn't that be a weird twist if Tom Brady decided to go play for the Atlanta Falcons? Like you are officially Tom Brady's bitch at that point. Like we've never beat him.
Yeah.
Right? And he would do that, wouldn't he? Like just to make sure that he never gets beat by the Falcons. You know what? I'm going to play my last 2 years for the Falcons just to ensure that I've never lost to the Falcons. Motherfucker. No, but I was thinking of Zach Wilson.
Man, yeah, we could get right into the game, man. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's so bad.
Yeah. I have a lot to say about him later, but we can start by saying that the Jags continue their surging assault on the AFC South title. While honestly, Zach Wilson just went one step further to securing his role as a permanent backup or maybe even a third string NFL quarterback. If that, to be honest with you. When I woke up and saw that he didn't finish the game, my immediate reaction was that, he must have gotten, because you look at the box score. Yeah. I always look at the box score for these late night games when I first wake up in the morning, like before I even get out of bed. I was like, oh shit, he must have gotten injured. Nope. This bitch got benched and replaced by third stringer Chris Streveler.
Who looked better.
You're right. And the worst part about it, and the worst part about it is that everyone who watched the game, all of the reporters seemed to say the same thing, that Streveler, the moment he came in, it was like he gave the team a boost.
Yeah. They talk about coaches losing the locker room. This is a quarterback that lost the locker room. And he might have lost it way back when he said, I don't think he's recovered from saying that he...
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I don't think so either. He was 9 for 18, 92 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick.
Yeah.
They couldn't get a first down. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't do diddly poo.
We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball.
I mean, it has to be the greatest coaching reaction.
It's
to
like
a
a
question.
Phillip Rivers style too.
Unbelievable.
Diddly poo.
This new running back that everyone's so hyped about, Zonovan Knight, 6 carries for -2 yards. I mean, they didn't have anything working.
No.
But it's funny because it started out looking like it was going to be a great night for the Jets. Jags first possession, Quinnen Williams gets the sack strip fumble on T-Law.
And associates.
Which led to the Jets' only points of the game. That was it. They got a field goal and they were done.
Field goal right away and just packed it up. We've done our work here.
Yeah, because T-Law and his associates kind of got their shit together. He went 20 for 31, 229 yards, no touchdown passes, but he didn't throw any picks. Most of the offense ran through Travis Etienne, who had 22 carries for 83 yards. And then you had Evan Ingram, who had 7 receptions for 113 yards. T-Law himself was the one with the rushing touchdown to go along with his 51 yards rushing. And this was a bad weather game too. So, it was in New York. It was raining. It was cold.
Yeah.
But I think the Jags really managed themselves, especially for a team like that they want to be known as a high flying offense, but the fact that they were able to settle into this bad weather game and just be the better team, kind of told me a lot about how they've grown this year, especially under Doug Peterson.
I feel like, but we got to give credit to Urban Meyer, man.
I mean, he built this team. His fingerprints.
His fingerprints are all over this team, man.
Kind of like his fingerprints are all over the ass of that really pretty blonde girl that he.
All inside the ass of it. Remember digging all in that girl. Disgusting.
Gross, bro.
He's a
Super
disgusting
gross.
old man.
Yeah.
And he's right on TV now, sniffing his fingers.
Oh yeah.
Before college game day.
But with this win and the Titans loss, which we'll get to later, the Jags officially take over the number 1 spot in the AFC South and control their destiny.
I picked this outcome correctly. And then we moved on to the Saturday games, and the Bills played the Bears, and you picked the Bills to win. And the Bills did win.
They did.
Looks like they're getting their mojo back.
And by doing so, they clinched the AFC East title.
Mm-hmm.
And while this victory, or the score anyway, looks quite convincing, 35-13, it took a lot of work.
Yeah.
It took a lot of work and some halftime adjustments to get it done, because what normally works for them was not working at all. Again, a lot of games affected by weather this weekend. Extremely cold, extremely windy. Josh Allen was only 15 for 26, 172 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 very bad interceptions.
Bro, what's wrong with him?
Yeah.
The elbow.
He was out there trying to play hero ball, honestly. Yeah. He did rush for 41 yards and a rushing TD. But it was really mostly like a third quarter adjustment where they finally decided to lean more on their kind of traditional run game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Buffalo was down 10-7 at the half.
Yeah.
Right? But after a long 33-yard rushing touchdown by Devin Singletary, who had 106 yards on the day, and then a 27-yard rushing touchdown from my man, former Bulldog James Cook, who had 99 yards on the day. That's pretty much what led to the Bills.
I said that when he scored,
taking
too.
Over.
I watched the game, and when he scored, I was like, that's Schif's man, former Bulldog. James Cook. But I think they are very scary if their running game is working. And it's like, watch out. I want to give we have to give like an award or something, man, because Justin Fields had 15 completions.
Wow.
That's crazy that they had the same amount of completions. You could have bet me on that one. I wouldn't have thought so. But Justin Fields, man, I don't know, man. If I'm still seeing that need for
Yeah.
growth.
Well, I think the Bills defense deserve an award too because they did a really good job eliminating the Bears run game. Montgomery only had 62 yards, and Fields. I mean, they were kind of spying him the whole game. You go back and watch the tape
with different players.
Yeah, exactly. Watch the tape, fucking tape heads. They basically dared him to beat him with his arm.
Yep, everybody's gonna do that.
Which he could not.
No,
and Fields, who normally, puts up a lot of rushing yards. He only had 11 yards rushing the ball in this game. So
they spied him with a safety, a linebacker, and lineman. Like they were just different players spied. So it's not even like the same guy to watch for. So it's like he has to identify the spy and then read the defense. He was probably like, man, fuck this shit.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good job by the Bills defense to basically give the offense time to figure out how to win this game, which they did.
Yeah. All right. On to the next game. And flip them and pick them. I picked the Browns to beat the Saints. I thought this was going to be Deshaun Watson's coming out game. And it was not. It was a Taysom Hill kind of. Actually, it was like Saints defense kind of just kept them in check.
True.
But
This was probably the worst. This was probably the worst weather day, worst weather game of them all.
Resulting in
a shit bowl brought to you by Xlex.
But the Saints did overcome a 10-point deficit. To knock the serial predator and his team out of playoff contention.
Are they out?
So, yeah, they're officially eliminated. So for this week and this week only, I press pause on my fuck the Saints routine and say to New Orleans, thank you for the service that you provided. Good job. Well done. Good job, guys. My man, forward Bulldog Nick Chubb is the only Browns player we're talking about. 24 carries, 92 yards rushing.
I had to give a little extra slurp in there.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, Sir Grabs-a-Lot did have a rushing TD that almost made me throw up in my mouth when he did it. But thankfully, he was terrible at his actual job of throwing the football. He went 15 for 31.
What is this, Justin Fields again we're talking about?
15 for 31. 135 yards passing, no touchdowns, and one very, very bad interception.
Is he broken? Is this Russ still? Like, what is going on? We determined years ago that he was like a smart quarterback.
I can still see a scenario where he comes back next year and he's good. Honestly,
if he comes back next year and he's good, do we say? Does the NFL give him comeback player of the year?
Jesus Christ! No, they can't. They'll not. No, they can't.
After being held out of the league for 11 games, coming back rusty, and then comeback player of the year.
They can't do that.
No, I'm just kidding.
I thought this is really fun. Alvin Kamara, he looked pretty good, running the rock violently and like with a sense of urgency. So it was so cold in this game. He was quoted after the game, after having admitted that he wore something like a scuba suit under all of his gear, saying. He said, like, it was like, I don't know what Celsius, but it was like the wind chill was like minus 30 or something. Like, it was freezing.
Oh, my God.
And Kamara said, I didn't want any part of that. The elements are the elements, so you just use common sense out there. It was cold. Nothing was going to stop it from being cold. On those long runs, I was really more fired up just to get back to the sidelines and sit next to that giant heater.
I think minus 30 is minus 34 Celsius.
We saw a lot of Taysom Hill in this game. I mean, he lined up as a quarterback, but I don't think he had a single pass attempt. The wind was insane in this game. The wind was like 27, 30 miles an hour kind of wind or whatever.
Smart not to throw it with him.
Yeah, they just crammed it down their throats, basically.
Do you think the Saints fans are worried that they're gonna go on like to the playoffs and like squeak out a win in the playoffs, and then they're stuck with Dennis Allen next year?
There's a lot of rumors that Sean Payton is on his way back.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see. That's a big question mark. But
Yeah, maybe he's got the itch. That's one way. Yeah, it would suck to see him coaching for somebody else if I was a Saints fan.
yeah,
But they still don't have their quarterback situation figured out.
not even close.
So, what happened to Jameis Winston?
They just gave up on him.
Damn.
I mean, even once he got healthy,
Yeah.
they just gave up on him.
Damn, he sucked on too many W's, huh?
Yeah,
That's the worst thing ever.
it's gross.
Man.
I don't want to see that.
maybe they saw it and were like, "What were we thinking?" All right, then we got the Texans and the Titans and the clash of the AFC South super teams.
Crazy.
Wait,
Titans are in a tailspin.
why did this change again?
What do you mean?
Because it shows Chiefs Seahawks on this one.
Oh, I don't know. Next game is Titans Texans.
Okay, good.
I mean, the Titans are in a tailspin. 5 straight losses. This most recent one against the worst team in the NFL has now led them to losing their grip on the AFC South.
Mm-hmm.
They've been leapfrogged by T-Law and Associates down there in Jacksonville. No Tannehill, obviously. Ankle surgery this week.
Ankle surgery?
He had kind of a... Yeah, he had ankle surgery. I assume he's done for the year.
Wow.
So, I mean, Malik Willis he ain't it.
Nope. Not yet.
14 for 23, 99 yards, no touchdown, 2 motherfucking picks. Again, Derrick Henry, unsurprisingly, started off the day with a 50-yard touchdown blast. But the Texans played him pretty hard for the rest of the way. He finished the day with 126 yards, but if he's the only guy you have, if he's the only weapon you have, that's just not enough a lot of times.
Yeah. And they're going to stack the box.
Yeah.
They're not worried about Malik throwing the ball. So I think you can tackle big King Henry by committee.
Yeah, and obviously it's very, a 50-yard touchdown run, it's a little telling that about a third of his total yards came on one play, you know what I mean? It was a pretty tight back and forth affair, like, 2 turds swirling their way to the bottom of the shit bowl.
Brought to you by XLEX.
But a late touchdown pass from Davis Mills to Brandon Cooks basically decided the game.
I do not understand this carousel they got going at quarterback over there.
It's very strange.
It's like some college shit, some high school shit.
Yeah, because they keep bringing, who's the other guy they keep bringing in?
The one who runs.
Yeah.
Like there's one that can run one runs the read option and one is a standard. I forget his name too. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
But that's just it's crazy, man. I don't understand it. I would say it's working, but it's not. Jeff Driscoll is his name.
Yeah, right. Jeff Driscoll.
And he comes in and he runs the read option a little bit, I guess. And then Davis Mills, it's weird. It's a tell. It's showing what kind of play you're thinking of running. It's very odd. And it's showing that Lovie Smith is officially demented or has the dementia.
Well, I also think it would be in some ways quite a compliment to someone like Taysom Hill. Like, as much as I like to make fun of the Saints from time to time, Taysom Hill is a very talented Swiss Army knife type player, and I think the fact that he is able to do what he does in so many games, I think you kind of, and then you see the Texans try to do it, and you realize it's a lot harder than you think it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you also Jeff Driscoll is not the size
He ain't no Taysom Hill.
of Taysom Hill. Taysom
But I
Hill
will
can
say that
run motherfuckers over.
the Texans, as much as full credit to the Texans for getting feisty at the end of the year, showing that they got some fight in them. But they do not want to fuck around and lose this number 1 pick.
Why?
Because
Who's
I think
the can't miss prospect?
well, if they have the number 1 pick, my guess is that they're going to take Bryce Young from the quarterback from Alabama.
Is that can't miss? Like if honestly, if I was a GM and I had
he's
the number
pretty
1,
good.
he's pretty good at Alabama. Honestly, if I'm the GM,
I don't disagree with that.
of a team with the number 1 pick, then I would be trying to get some more capital from that pick. Move down, get some picks, get some players and stuff like that.
Yeah,
instead of taking that number 1 pick, man.
Bryce Young is a really good quarterback, but he also has a lot of red flags. He's very good at extending the play. He's very good at reassessing what he has downfield after he's extended the play.
Oh, that's good.
But again, like you said, we're talking about college football.
Yep. And talent disparity that's not there.
And while that's one of those weird college football traits that can win you a Heisman Trophy, but it's also one of those things that can label you. Like I would say that this was also the way they talked about Zach Wilson in his last year at BYU, being able to get outside the pocket and find dudes. But the difference is that in college, if you get outside the pocket, chances are your receiver is going to be 7 or 8 yards wide open at that point, which that doesn't happen in the NFL.
Not this for coverage.
Unless there's like busted coverage or something, but it's rare.
Or somebody falls down or some shit like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a rarity.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. We'll see about that. Then we got the Seahawks and the Chiefs. And I picked the Chiefs to win. They did win. And I feel like the Seahawks are finally exposed.
I think maybe they ate some bad schnitzel when they were in Germany because they haven't looked right since that trip. Right? I mean, that was when it all came sort of, the downward spiral began right there. Gino did not look good.
It's the longest trip in the NFL, right?
Has to be.
To go from Seattle to Germany. So maybe they've all been, affected still. Or they weren't that good and were playing bad teams at the beginning of the year.
Didn't we talked about them then? They lost to all of the NFC South teams.
Oh, really? Did we talk about that?
We talked about that a few weeks ago because I saw it somewhere and it kind of hit me. I was like, oh shit, maybe this team actually sucks. Like you literally lost four of your losses came to the worst division in football.
See?
If you lose to the Falcons, you're suspect, in my opinion. This year, anyway. Gino was not very good in this game. 25 for 40, 215 yards, a touchdown to Noah Fant. One very bad end zone pick.
At the end of the game. The Noah Fant touchdown was...
Yeah, exactly. It was in garbage time. The Chiefs deep had their hands full with Kenneth Walker, who was the only bright spot for the Seahawks with over 100 yards rushing. But other than that, they frustrated Gino all day. I think
Shout out to K9.
Yeah. They forced multiple turnover on downs. Mahomes, it's funny with Mahomes. If you just look at the box score, you'd be like 16 for 28, 224 yards. That's an average. That's not that great. But he does throw 2 touchdown passes. One to Kadarius Toney, the other one to my man from Marietta, Jerick McKinnon. But the run, bro. The run is like if you watch the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like people like to joke about, oh, Mahomes, he's like a video game. But I would argue that Mahomes is doing things that video games can't. Like
Not yet.
can't do yet. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's crazy how he was able to sort of get
Hit
the
the
edge
outside of the pylon. I've never seen him before.
He gets the edge. He plants his left hand just barely in bounds.
Goes fully vertical.
Completely stretched out. Pause it, and you're like, what is that? What is he doing? And he just barely nicks the pylon. I don't know. A lot of people are saying that Mahomes is basically a lock for the MVP. What do you think?
Yeah, he's the MVP. I mean, I think it's almost he's at the level of like Jordan in his prime when it was like you give the MVP to Barkley because everybody knows Jordan's the best. You know, that type of thing.
Right.
And it's like that's been happening to Mahomes or Kobe. You know what I mean? When Steve Nash got it twice, and it's like seriously, if I was having a pickup game, I'm picking Kobe first. You know what I mean? It's like that type of thing. So I think that's the only way he gets overlooked because we all know this dude is the best player in football. Unless you start giving it to defensive players and then you'd be like, okay, Aaron Donald's the best. But not even this year. It's like
people are starting to describe it as like greatness fatigue.
Yes.
Like he's just so great that
we take it for granted.
He gets taken for granted.
Yeah.
I think there's something to that.
Yeah, definitely. He's the
because I know. I mean, I can say just from even doing this podcast, like how many weeks do we do this? Where it's like, I mean, where you come in and you just say like, I'm just sort of running out of ways to describe what Mahomes did in this game. Like, how do you?
It's unfortunate that we're witnessing like, but then when I watch it, I appreciate it. Like because I try to watch. That's one of the things I'll do is like see which games when I go back, and I try to watch which game is worth the 40-minute. You know what I mean? Like this week, the game that was worth the 40-minute condensed was the Cowboys and the Cowboys and the Eagles game. That was the one that's like definitely going. But then I always find a way to watch the Chiefs because watching Mahomes, even when he doesn't put up 400 yards, is like this dude's insanely good, man. That throw on a rope to Kelsey to pull away towards the end, it was just like wow. When you see so many quarterbacks miss that same throw. Yeah. Yeah. So he's MVP easily. Then we got the next game is the Vikings and the Giants. You picked the Vikings to win, and they didn't make it dramatic. They won on a 60-yard field goal in overtime. What a game! I
mean, this team is they're so much fun.
11-0 in one-score games.
It's crazy. Last year they lose. Last year they lost all these one-score games, or I think they lost most of them.
Yeah,
I think.
Because they were talking about Zimmer, how like maybe you shouldn't fire him because so many close games. But
like you said, 12 wins, 11 of them have been one-score games. I believe that's an NFL record, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's what they said.
And it takes this 61-yard Greg Joseph field goal in the dying seconds to seal the victory, the longest of his career as well. The game was a nail-biter from start to finish, tight score all the way through.
Yeah. Shout out to the Giants, man. Shout out to them.
They played great. Danny Dimes was slinging it. He was 30 for 42, 334 yards, a touchdown, also threw a pick. Saquon had an 84 yards rushing and a touchdown. One of them was like a long rushing touchdown.
Yeah, that was towards
Was that the one to tie the game?
Tie it up, yeah. I think Gus Johnson did this game, I want to say. I always remember when that guy is just like ridiculously excited. It's a catch! It's like, dude, it was a 4-yard catch. Relax,
relax. I think, unfortunately for the Giants, their wide receiver room is greatly depleted. Yeah. I saw a lot of balls getting dropped in this game that easily could have made a difference. But they were no match for Mr. You like that.
Yeah.
Cousins was 34 for 48, 299 yards, 3 motherfucking touchdowns. One to Jefferson, who had 133 yards on the day, and 2 touchdowns to TJ Hawkinson, who had himself a day.
Yeah, man.
Him? Crazy.
A mid-season trade, man.
You like that? You like that?
I like that.
a lot of people liked it. 109 yards on 9 receptions. And one of those touchdown catches was not even human. Like it's like double coverage, flying backwards through the air, defenders draped all over him.
Oh yeah, that one way,
Ball placement was perfect.
Elite.
And the concentration that led to the catch, I mean, was also impressive.
In the words of Kirk Cousins, gosh darn it, what a great freaking catch.
Gee golly.
Gee golly.
The drama at the end when the Giants tied it up with that 27-yard touchdown run for Saquon, plus the 2-point conversion to tie it. I mean, you're going to go out there and leave Kirk Cousins with 2 minutes.
What are you thinking?
Well, what exactly? I mean, that's just like
you know what we're dealing with?
That's probably your biggest mistake of the game.
It helps when you only got to go like 25 yards.
Well, to be fair, Cousins got sacked at the Minnesota 41-yard line.
Oh yeah,
on that drive, making the forcing the Vikings to take their final timeout with only 19 seconds left. I thought they were headed for overtime for sure.
Yeah.
Right. But Cousins threw a bubble screen to Jefferson, who rips off 17 yards down the field. It was like a bubble screen.
Yeah.
How did whatever?
Because everybody's backing off. It's pretty smart. And the way the screen developed. Because the screen came from the middle to the outside.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice.
But I feel like it's one of those plays that, like, had the Falcons done it, it wouldn't have worked. And I would have been like, who fucking calls a bubble screen in that situation, you idiot? Whatever, it worked.
And Jefferson attacked the pass, too. He didn't wait for the ball to come. He attacked it, and it put him, like, right in the middle of all the blockers. Then he cut inside. He didn't, because I guess he knew we got timeout. Right? They had a timeout left. No, they didn't.
No timeouts. But he went down.
Yeah, he went down early, yep.
And he went down early enough, so he was smart in that sense. And they were able to spike the ball and kick the game-winning field goal.
Yes, that's it.
Now, despite the Giants,
world, you don't want a loss.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to win, but if you can't get the win, and, sometimes you sell for the tie. A lot of football left to go in the season.
No, Lovey, not in this game.
Nope, doesn't work that way. The Giants are still in control of their own destiny as far as getting into the playoffs.
That's good.
Because a lot of, this is sort of a theme around the league. A lot of the teams that were like, just barely in the playoffs or like kind of just barely outside of the playoffs, like most of them lost this week.
Barely.
Yeah.
So a lot of the teams at the bottom, like things kind of stayed the same.
Yeah. For the Packers too, it worked out for them too.
Yeah. Final note on this game: Jefferson surpassed Randy Moss's team record of 1,632 receiving yards, while also breaking Chris Carter's record of 122 catches in the season.
Yeah.
JJ's got 123 now. With 2 games remaining, Jefferson is now 209 yards away from breaking Calvin Johnson's NFL record of 1,964 receiving yards in the season.
Nice.
He'll have an extra game to do it with, and
it is what it is.
And also, I think that it'd be a little silly to
say he's better.
Well, the thing is that I think that, I mean, he already has more. Like, what did I see?
He ain't better than Moss, man.
Whatever, we'll see. He's 3 seasons. He's been in the league for 3 seasons. He might be the best receiver we've ever seen in the league. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But people need to relax on all of that stuff. Let the man have his career.
Yeah. He seems to be having a great time.
He's having a great time. The league has changed. You know what I mean? Moss used to have to fight through a different type of rules and what you could do to a wide receiver, especially Chris Carter, who would do it a little bit tough because Moss could just use his athleticism. Chris Carter, man, geez, he had to he did it the hard way.
True.
And mentored Moss.
Yep.
Speaking of mentors, somebody needs to mentor Mac Jones. I'm loving the sadness that is these Patriots, who once again, did they get a pick six or did they just had a pick? That
maybe.
Was it a pick six? I don't remember, but
Yes, they did.
Yeah, Marcus Jones. Yes. Oh, that Patriots defense, they are playing some ball, man. Because this Bengals team, that wide receiver core or the pass catchers on that team is a force to be reckoned with. And these Patriots step up every time, holding them to 22 points. But that offense is just.
Well, it was a crazy game because the Bengals were up 22-0 at the half. Burrow threw the ball 52 times in this game.
Yeah, that was their mistake.
40 completions, to be fair. 375 yards, 3 touchdowns. T. Higgins had a day with 128 yards and a touchdown. Trenton Irwin, everyone's favorite trailer park kid, with the mullet hanging out the back of his helmet.
Man,
I love this guy.
Touchdowns. I was like, who is this dude?
I know. But as you mentioned, Burrow had 2 picks, one of which was a 70-yard pick six by Marcus Jones, which gave the Patriots a chance to get back into this game.
He had like a pick. He's had a kickoff return for touchdown. He did something where he's had a he scored in so many different ways in the season that only Edelman has done that or something like that.
How about that weird touchdown by Jacoby Myers? Where Mac Jones chucks it up.
And he like
the intended
Myers
receiver,
didn't learn it. He didn't learn his lesson from laterals.
Yeah, he just happened to be in the right place at the right time. That was kind of interesting. But the Patriots eventually had the ball in the fourth quarter, only down by 4.
Yes,
they marched the ball down to the Bengals' 5-yard line.
Beautiful defensive play.
But Von Bell,
forced
a Ramondre Stevenson fumble.
Punched it out.
Basically sealed the victory for the Bengals.
Yeah, I thought this was gonna be an upset. I found myself. I'm glad you said that because I found myself rooting for the Patriots. Like because this year is kind of the first season where I've been like a neutral fan throughout all the games except for Dolphins games. But I've been like, I'm okay if my rival team. I want to see a good game, and then you always, if you're neutral, you root for the underdog. Depending on how the game is going, you want this crazy finish, kind of. And I was sitting there like, "Come on, Patriots, you could do this." And then they couldn't. In the end,
no.
And he punched the ball loose, and I was like, you just feel so bad for the guy who fumbles, but then you feel good for the guy who did the work and knocked it away. At least it wasn't like a fumble on a handoff. Somebody knocked it away, so don't feel so bad. Good game, valiant effort by this Patriots team that needed a pick six to even be close in this, and held them scoreless in the second half.
Yeah,
they did a Bengals on the Bengals.
True.
They adjusted and shut them down.
But these Bengals, man, they improved to 11-4.
Yeah.
What are they on? Like a 7-game heater?
Something like that.
And then, setting up a very juicy matchup for Monday Night Football next week.
Yes.
Bengals versus Bills. That's hot.
They beat the Patriots, Bucks, Browns. They did beat the Chiefs, who they own as of late. Titans, Steelers, Panthers, and they lost to the Browns. Their last loss was to the Browns. So it's not like they're beating world beaters, man. This might be a wake-up call. The
True.
Bills might be like, hey, remember good teams?
Right.
Because their last loss, like I said, was to the Browns. And then before that, they beat the Falcons and the Saints. And then they lost to the Ravens. They beat the Dolphins because they're the ones who put 2 out. They beat the Jets. And they lost to the Cowboys. And they lost to the Steelers. Bro, they haven't played anybody. They had the NFC South this year and the AFC East.
Right.
And then they had their division. Man, this flimsy. I didn't wait. You play what's on the schedule. But we're going to see, man. They're going to play the best team of the AFC East, and then they play the Ravens. They've had kind of an easy schedule when you look at it.
Yeah.
They haven't had the whole AFC South, but they got lucky and they played the Titans. I mean, I guess.
Oddly enough, they still have a chance to get the number 1 seed. I mean, if they go into Buffalo and beat them on Monday night, I think they would still need the Chiefs to drop a game before the end of the year. But if that were to happen, they would have the number 1 seed.
And the Chiefs might be resting players. The Chiefs have lost to the Bengals too. I mean, that's the one thing they have is they own those guys, man. So they got it. I didn't look at their schedule until now, and now I'm not as impressed with this winning streak, especially one of their losses is to the Browns. Imagine that if they would have just beat the Browns, man. They got beat down. They got beat 32-13.
Yeah, that was a weird game.
Yeah.
That was shocking.
Huh. Interesting. Interessant.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then we got the Lions and the Panthers in the upset of the week. Panthers came in ready to fucking play, and they beat the Lions. They hung 37 on the Lions. Beat them 37-23.
This is only one way to describe this loss. The Lions got absolutely gashed by the Carolina Panthers run game. 320 total rushing yards.
Hey, you always bring up the birds when it's bird on bird crime.
Right.
This is cat on cat, baby.
Yeah, this was a cat battle where only one cat showed up. Deontay Foreman, 21 carries for 165 yards and a touchdown. Chuba Hubbard had 12 carries for 125 yards. Both guys were averaging around 10 yards per carry.
Insane.
I mean, it was like every time they got the ball, they were off and running. It was they steamrolled the Lions.
Yeah.
I mean, Goff did throw for 355 yards and 3 touchdowns, but the Lions' inability to stop the Panthers' run game was only highlighted more by the Lions' inability to run the ball themselves. The Lions only had 45 total rushing yards in this game. When Goff is your leading rusher, something went wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Jamal Williams didn't do shit. My man, former Bulldog, DeAndre Swift didn't do shit. DJ Chark, Amon-Ra St. Brown had most of the receiving yards. But if you had Shane Zylstra in your fantasy lineup, then you are an absolute genius because this tight end who I've never heard of caught 3 touchdown passes for the Lions.
I was like, who? I'm thinking as Hawkinson came back. I was like, what's going on? Yeah, man. He was the security blanket because the other guys must have been blanketed. And, the Panthers came out ready to play. Nobody saw this coming. And flip 'em, pick 'em. You picked the Panthers. No, you picked the Lions to win because the Lions were on a roll, man. They were in these games against good teams. They were beating good teams as well. And then this happens, and the Panthers took them out to the abyss. And they did.
Them. I mean, it's a major hit to the Lions' playoff hopes.
Yeah.
But like I said, just about everyone around them lost as well, which, had they won, would have been great for them. I mean, they just have to win out and hope that the other teams don't do the same.
Yeah.
There is a scenario, I think, where the Lions could play the Packers for a playoff spot on the final day of the season, which I really hope that happens because that would be fun as hell.
And you know me, Schif. I like to look at the whole product of a game. I like to think about the announcers calling the game. I like to think about, the whole product, the production.
Sure.
And one thing that's always stood out for me over the years is, and annoyed me, is this penchantcy. Is that a word? Well, I'm making it up. This penchantcy of these production teams to show Tom Brady warming up, right? You always see Tom Brady warm-up shot. It's so annoying. It's like, there's more to the game than this. The new one that I love is the Dan Campbell annoyed frustration shot. When he's like,
Yeah.
Zoom in on him standing on the sidelines in disbelief. That shot that they're doing a lot is my new production shot that I do like. I hated the Brady one, but I love this one when they just, or the one, they always show that when the quarterback throws the interception and then the other team scores, they always give a shot of that quarterback that threw the interception. Well, this shot of Dan Campbell just being fucking, he wants to punch a wall. They show his face, everything. It's great.
Another shot that we have seen quite frequently this year is the frustrated freaking out on the sidelines of Falcons coach Arthur Smith.
The spoiled brat.
He does look a little like he's getting ready to throw all of his toys on the floor when things don't go well, which has happened quite frequently this year.
Yeah, man.
Falcons lose to the Ravens 17-9. I mean, normally you hold a team to only.
Bowl,
yeah, exactly.
To you by XLEX.
I mean, normally if you hold a team to one touchdown all day and a total of 17 points, you have a pretty good chance to win that football game. Unless, of course, the name of your team is the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, Tyler Huntley, listen to this. Tyler Huntley was 9 for 17, 115 yards.
That's the score.
Yeah. We couldn't stop the run, of course. Gus Edwards had 99 yards rushing.
He went to the U.
He sure did.
I had to get one in there.
I kind of have a feeling that things are starting to turn around in the U. You guys had a really good recruiting day on signing day this year. So I think good times might be coming back to the U, by the way.
Is that true?
Yeah, I was reading about it the other day.
Oh, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that anybody wants to go there.
I think they were top 5 in recruiting as of signing day.
After that season? Well, that's a good sign. Okay, good. Thanks for that good news. I needed something.
Yeah.
Sports.
So it's not all Bulldogs news. We were number 2 in recruiting, just curious.
Don't get it twisted, right?
You still got to play the games. Yeah. This Falcons game was, it was there for the taking.
Yes.
Drake London had a day on the stat sheet, but he also had a very painful 4th down fumble. What a horrible feeling that was.
Yeah.
He got the first down. The ball gets punched out. We also had a touchdown wiped off the board because of a holding call that I got to be honest with you, I didn't see it. Arthur Smith certainly didn't agree with it. He was freaking out. And because we got stiffed on some other calls that, I would care about more, I guess, if we didn't suck so much, like you were texting me, like, wasn't that a catch? Like there was one where it was like, that felt like it was a catch. And I'm like,
yes.
You know what? Yeah, sure. But whatever. What are you going to do? You know what I mean?
I can't believe some of these calls throughout the whole day of overtime.
I mean, like I said, I went into this week feeling like the Falcons season was already over anyway. It's officially over now because now we're mathematically eliminated and likely to finish last in the worst division in the NFL.
God damn.
But I will say this, Desmond Ridder looked much better in his second start.
Yes.
He did something that Mariota wasn't able to do for the majority of the season, which is to throw for more than 200 yards.
Ooh, shots fired.
But it's true. It's only his second game. He's 22 for 33, 218 yards. He didn't throw any picks.
This is frustrating, though, right?
But, it's funny. A lot of people on Falcons Twitter are saying precisely what you said either last week or the week before. Like, you should have put him in, like, for the Chicago game, which was, like, several weeks ago.
Yeah. Imagine you might get some W's out of these games. Get the kinks out and stuff. Give him a bye week and all that. Oh, he came after the bye week? I don't remember when your bye was.
They put him in right after the bye week.
The bye week could have been his chance to regroup and look at his flaws, what you got on tape. Like, come on, guys.
Sure, but I think with a few more games, you would be able to go into next season feeling a little more confident about, you know what? Because he's played for 2 games. He played like shit in his first game. He improved quite a lot for his second game. And now he's only got 2 more games of meaningless football.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Which is essentially it's basically like playing 2 preseason games, right? The games don't matter at all.
But the good thing is the other teams will be playing hard, and you get to see what you got, man. They should. This is really frustrating that Arthur Smith did this.
Yeah, I feel it was a little late. On the Ravens side, they clinched the playoff spot by way of a Patriots loss, as well as their victory. But I'm not so sure how confident I would feel about this Ravens team making any kind of deep run
If they
in
got
the playoffs. Yeah, but even with him, I mean, their offense was their touchdown pass in this game. I couldn't believe it. I had to look it up. They said it was the first touchdown pass to a Ravens receiver since week 3.
Yeah.
How is that?
He loves Andrews. Oh no!
I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Well, when Bateman went down, they shipped off Hollywood Brown. You know what I mean? It's like they just don't give. It's like they don't care. Maybe they're trying to make room for this next contract. I don't know, but they need him to have somebody to throw it to. Then you got the Washington Commanders played the 49ers and predictably got that ass whooped. 37-20, and it didn't feel like it was that close. Purdy came out there looking Purdy.
Yeah. George Kittle had a fucking day. 120 yards, 6 receptions, 2 touchdowns.
It seems like Purdy coming in made Kittle wake up, or like something about it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just that security blanket of the tight end.
No, but you're right. It's 2 weeks in a row that Kittle has a 2 touchdown game.
Yeah.
Dude's on fire.
Yeah.
Purdy was solid, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also threw a pick, but McCaffrey and Ray McLeod both had rushing touchdowns as well. Ray's TD was 71-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
That was nice. Gets the edge, race down the sidelines.
Man. He took off he took off once he got through it. And it was nice that he didn't go all the way to outside first. He went, he didn't wait. I think he would have lost
cut on an angle, yeah.
Yeah, and then he took off. I said, well, goddamn.
Heineke was so bad that he got benched for Carson Wentz.
Yeah, and then Wentz throws a touchdown.
And then Wentz throws a touchdown late in the game.
Yeah.
Heineke was only 13 for 18, 166 yards. That's pretty fucking bad. And now there's a quarterback controversy. Like now they're saying,
wow.
I mean, they're in the. I think they're in. Washington occupies the final playoff spot.
You might want to go with the experience. You might want to go with Wentz. Honestly, it's one of those risk reward.
It feels like a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of scenario.
Yeah, you got 2 bad quarterbacks, man.
I would not want to be Ron Rivera right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, we'll see what they do, man. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I would not want to be Ron, because damned if you do, damned if you don't. Who's gonna get the blame? Ron Rivera's gonna get the blame no matter what.
Yeah.
Dust off their resume, bro. All right, then we got the game of the week. Eagles Cowboys. The Eagles with the Stash himself coming out to play this game. And the Cowboys
this is a fun game.
Eked out a 40-34 victory.
I mean, Dak throws a pick 6 on the 3rd play of the game, and then he basically turned around and was damn near perfect.
Yep.
27 for 35, 347 yards, 3 touchdown passes. The Cowboys' run game was mostly silenced by the Eagles defense.
I remember one week you were telling me how the Eagles didn't have good run defense. Continue.
Things change. They can adjust.
Yeah. Kudos to the Cowboys' run defense, though.
Yes,
holding the
absolutely.
Eagles under 100 yards.
Nobody could run the ball. So this was going to be a quarterback game. Gallup didn't have that many yards, but he did pick up some very important third down catches, as well as a really impressive touchdown catch. How about T.Y. Hilton out of nowhere?
I didn't know he played.
They picked him up off of practice squad or some shit.
Oh, okay.
Like last week. He gets one catch for 52 yards. How crazy is that?
Yeah. Shout out
and
to
it's
him,
like
man.
and it was on a play that was like 3rd and 30. I mean, what a fucking big late game first down conversion.
That might be a great pickup, man. Off of somebody's practice squad. You get T.Y. Hilton right in time for the playoffs. This is they're probably like, you know what? Instead of OBJ, let's go with T.Y. It's probably the same.
It's probably better. I mean, at least T.Y. is in shape. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, nobody had an answer for CeeDee Lamb. He has 10 catches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was smooth like butter in this game.
I've been a doubter of him, but he's turning me around, man.
He was good in this game.
Yeah. I've been thinking like he can't carry the receiver core, especially after I felt like they did Amari Cooper wrong. But
yeah,
maybe.
Now, all of this Cowboys hype aside, were it not for all the turnovers, Gardner Minshew and company probably could have won this game.
Yeah.
Right?
I think they're still the better team.
He was 24 for 40, 355 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He also fumbled the ball, as did Miles Sanders late in the game, as they were trying to put together a late game-winning drive. Both Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown had over 100 yards receiving. The Eagles' attack still looked extremely dangerous with the mustached magician under center. But again, 4 turnovers.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys produced, I think, around 20 points off of those turnovers.
It's hard to overcome.
Yeah. But it's good that the Cowboys won this game because I think they would be in panic mode had they lost to Gardner Minshew.
I feel almost like the Cowboys, they're 11-4. They've gone through a lot this season with the playing under Cooper Rush, trying to figure out what's going on with Dak, and some injuries and stuff like that. And I'm wondering if they're winning like this in these types of games and then going to the playoffs, is it going to be the same situation as the Saints where they have to stick with this coach that they don't really believe in?
Maybe. It's so funny that you bring up Cooper Rush. That feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, man.
Doesn't it? It's like, what? No, was that this year? Yeah, it was.
And the thing, and I just compared them to the Saints, and they're both red-headed quarterbacks that had to take the helm at some point.
Let's go.
So I don't know. I don't know if he's the answer, McCarthy, but I don't know if the Cowboys are a destination for prime head coaches.
I think if they lose in the first round of the playoffs, I think Jerry's going to fire McCarthy anyway.
You think so? Okay.
I do.
That team seems loaded to me, man.
Well, that's why I think if they lose in the first round of the playoffs, like they tend to do, I think McCarthy's going to get fired.
Okay. Oh, so he's not in the clear.
Hell no.
All right. Then we had Raiders and Steelers, an upset we both predicted. It wasn't a true upset in the flip 'em and pick 'em, but most people thought the Raiders were going to win this game. You and I were keen to the fact that the Raiders are not that squad.
True.
And the Steelers won 13-10, held the Raiders to 10 points. I didn't see that coming.
No. But there was some drama and some magic in the air. They were down 10-6 to the Raiders.
Yeah.
With less than a minute left on the clock. On the night that the Steelers were honoring the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, while also mourning the sudden death of Franco Harris, who manufactured what is arguably the greatest play in NFL history. The Steelers were in search of a new hero, a man who could step up and make the game-winning catch in the clutch, a man who could channel the energy and the spirit left behind by Franco and his Italian army. And that man was my man, former Bulldog, George Pickens, with a 14-yard game-winning touchdown drive, carving up the secondary like warm Georgia pecan butter for the win. Butter and all them biscuits. Let's go.
I don't know why I didn't see that coming. I didn't see it coming beforehand. I knew what happened, but I didn't see that coming. I don't know, man. Great job by that might be the combination, man. Pickett and Pickens.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to call them the pick six combo or something like that. Pick six out here doing it or something like that. That'll be fun.
They were great. Of course, they left a little too much time on the clock for Derek Carr, who came out and threw his third interception of the game. So that helped too. Man, he was bad. 16 for 30, 174 yards. He had a touchdown to Renfro, but yeah, he had his 3 picks. I don't think Derek Carr is the quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders next year.
Damn. Even though
I think there's probably a lot of
over there.
And that's the weird part. Like, they went through all that trouble to get those two back together, but I don't see.
He got shut down, Devontae Adams.
I don't see how they keep Derek Carr. This has to be his worst year statistically as a quarterback. I think he's somewhere else next year.
Probably.
I really do.
I think Josh McDaniels needs to be somewhere else next year because that might be why it doesn't work. But that's whole nother conversation. The Pittsburgh Steelers, how much of this grit that they're showing to borrow from our boy Dan Campbell, how much of this you think is to make sure that they don't have a losing record under Mike Tomlin? You think that's playing any part of this, or they're just playing ball?
I mean, I think that probably has something to do with it, but I also think it has a lot to do with them just getting healthy and they've just like every other team, they've dealt with a fair amount of injuries, and their defense has kind of ebbed and flowed with the various injuries that they've had. And right now they seem to be healthy and just very difficult to play against from a defensive perspective. I mean, Josh Jacobs only had 44 yards rushing in this game. That's like,
yeah, they shut them down big time. The problem is they have on their roster Mitch Trubisky. That's
True.
Another couple victories if that dude is not the quarterback.
The other crazy stat line is that so Carr throws back-to-back picks out of the half, and then the Raiders after that were held to only 15 total yards in the second half.
God damn.
That's crazy.
Wow.
They shut those motherfuckers down.
All right, time for some pain.
Let's do it.
Let's get over it. Just rip the scab off. The Dolphins played the Packers and lost to the Packers. And I've been talking about the AFC being better than the NFC. And the Dolphins just came out and smacked them in the mouth right away. And then apparently Tua forgot what colors. Like, I think his concussion had the greens mixed up because he was throwing it to the Packers. He had 2 picks, and I was like, okay. Then the third pick, I don't blame him for it. The cornerback just bailed on defending his guy and then does like an Xavier. I've only seen Xavier Howard do this, where he just like, you know what? I think he's going to go over here and just leaves Tyreek Hill wide open, and the ball's in the air already, and he just picks it off. And then we find out later that Tua had a possible concussion that they're looking at or whatever. They're probably going to err on the side of caution and keep him out the next game. But my Dolphins were up and didn't score in the second half. They were up 20-3 or some shit like that. I thought we were going to have a smooth Sunday, and then the Packers end up winning 26-20.
I mean, it feels like you had them right where you wanted them.
Yeah, man. And Roger, it's not like they had a great offense. They just got short fields off of interceptions
and even after all those interceptions, I don't think.
No, we could have won in the end, and then the final.
What did the Packers produce? What, 6 points or 9 points off of all those turnovers?
Yeah, Dolphins defense showed up for the one time this year, and just waiting on the offense to just answer, do something. And then they just couldn't get it going. And probably set me up for another non-postseason appearance for my team.
You're still in the playoffs right now, correct?
Yeah, we're still in. We're still in the playoffs. But if Tua's not playing, I can't see the Dolphins doing anything. We saw what they looked like with Teddy Bridgewater before his concussion. And then we saw what it looked like with Skylar Thompson, who was way out of his league. So if Tua doesn't play this Sunday, I mean, I think it'll be close because Tua, like, you could put a mannequin out there and that'll be equivalent to Mac Jones. But I feel like
I was just gonna suggest, wouldn't it be hilarious if they signed Matt Ryan off of Indiana's practice squad?
To come in and play
Everything would for us, that would be like everything coming full circle. You know, for Matt Ryan to somehow go from my team to your team.
Yes.
Just feel like, what?
and beat the Patriots.
That would be bizarre.
But I don't know, man. I think this bet the under, everybody, on the Dolphins Patriots next week, because the Dolphins defense looks like it's getting right. Hopefully they figure it out. I'd love to see my team play a playoff game, but I didn't feel good after this one. And now all of the toxic Miami media is at it, talking about blow everything up and all of this stupid shit. And I just hate saying that for my team, man. Let's move on.
Yes.
Yes, of course I picked them and flip them, pick them, because you set me up to make that pick, and they lost. It's such a setup. Then we got the Rams Broncos in the most unbelievable game of the week. This was the opposite of a shit bowl.
51-14.
Oh, the Broncos won 51-14 over the Rams?
Other way around.
What?
51. Good. This is like scoreline is like Georgia versus Middle Tennessee State Community College or something. Baker Mayfield to Tyler Higbee.
Hey, did you do that on purpose?
What?
Middle Tennessee beat Miami this year.
Oh, did they? Oh, sorry. No, I did not do that on purpose. I just picked one of the most ridiculous college football names that I could think of.
For some reason, Middle Tennessee's beat Miami the last 2 times they played them. It's insane.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Well, who would have thought Baker Mayfield to Tyler Higbee would be such a force of Christmas nature connecting on?
It almost won me one of my fantasy games, but I lost
So
both
close.
of them. Yeah.
2 touchdown between those two. Cam Akers also had 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, man.
That's the hat trick.
That's what happens when your quarterback isn't racist anymore.
Yeah, it wasn't the only hat trick in this game because Russell Wilson had 1, 2, 3 interceptions. The first 2 came on the first and second drive of the game, and the third was
he was throwing
the
it right
first drive
to
of the
them.
second. It was hard to watch.
Bad picks. I'm rooting for him too. I'm trying to go out here and I'm trying to cheer for this guy. And
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
it just hurts.
Well, he eventually took a seat for Brett Rippon, who came in and threw the 4th interception of the game, which actually was a pick 6. So good job there. Everything was unraveling for the Broncos. Like Brett Rippon was fighting with the offensive line on the sidelines. Apparently they got into an altercation after the game as well.
It seems like time to make a big move to get things right as the owners.
Well, Sergeant Segway can step into the building and say that 24 hours after this game, news drops that Nathaniel Hackett has been fired.
Finally. We talked about your team waiting too long to put the quarterback in. They waited way too long to fire this guy, and it feels like it just – I don't know, man. Not that the season was savable, but –
I mean, I think most people were expecting them to wait until the end of the season. I can see why they had to do it now, though.
Yeah. If they're
the new owners, we've talked about this before. The new owners, they didn't pick this guy.
GM's
Russell Wilson
too.
He seems. The reports sound like he's going to stay. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
The Russell Wilson contract was too big to dump, So Hackett was the head that had to roll.
The GM made that deal, though.
True. Yeah, it's true.
We'll talk more about that next episode.
Yeah, but I will say before we move on from this game, the flip side, it has to be said that deservedly or not, I can certainly predict that Baker Mayfield has done enough over the last few weeks to ensure that he can still get a job somewhere in the NFL. Maybe as a starter, maybe not, but maybe he's like or it could be like a high-end backup like Gardner Minshew.
Okay.
I don't know if he's willing to do that, but either way, he's been very impressive these last couple of games.
I could see him in a Texans uniform.
Yeah, sure. I can't see.
Maybe the Titans while Tannehill gets better.
Maybe.
If they bring Tannehill back, they could use him until Malik's ready. Be something like that.
True. Yeah. Well, I bring it up because it's not the last we're going to see of Baker Mayfield.
Nah.
Well, he's going to hang around.
Could be a backup in Arizona who lost to the Bucks.
Yeah, they did.
Arizona lost to the Bucks very end of the game too, man.
Both
Tom
of
Brady,
these teams were terrible.
Yeah, this was another one.
A shit bowl brought to you by XLEX.
And people are like, Tom Brady is gonna just come back and again in his career. Like, please stop with that, everybody.
Why don't they just why don't the Bucks just play their whole game and hurry up offense? Because that's the only time they look good.
Good point.
It's the only time they look good.
Do like Peyton Manning used to do. Just stay in a no huddle, hurry up, let Tom Brady do everything.
It's the only time they look
That's
good.
a good point, man. Come on, Byron. Isn't Byron Leftwich the offensive coordinator?
Uh-huh.
Come on, Byron.
Yeah.
The Cardinals continuing to do what they do under Cliff Kingsbury, even though they put out McSorley.
Yeah.
But come on, man.
Trace McSorley.
I don't know what else to say about this shit.
I mean, the only thing interesting about this game, to be honest, is that it sets up a Week 17 matchup between the 7-8 Bucks and the 6-9 Carolina Panthers. Panthers already beat the Bucks once this year, so if they win next week, they will be in the lead for, they'll be kings of the shitty NFC South with the head-to-head tiebreaker. That's some deep South drama right there.
Yeah.
So I'm here for that. That's really the only thing interesting about this game, because both of these teams were an embarrassment, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right, on to the final game.
Speaking of embarrassments,
the Chargers played the Colts. They won 20-3. Every time they show Jeff Saturday, I just feel like the world is unfair. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, really? Yeah. You see Matt Ryan over there in civilian clothes.
That's another one too. They keep cutting to those Matt Ryan shots.
Yeah, man.
Every time Nick Foles throws an interception, they cut to Matt Ryan.
And Nick Foles sure did. They were like, they brought in Nick Foles to chuck it deep. Like, they want to get some more downfield. They might as well just bring the punter out. Just run the punter out and get him to punt the ball, because that's all Nick Foles is doing. Man. And they kept showing the backup quarterback, the young guy, man. It's like, I think somebody said it. Why don't they just give him a shot?
Oh, Ellinger, yeah.
Ellinger was just standing there, just looking around, like, hey, coach. But nobody was near him. I think that's a big sign that no players were standing near him, like waiting on him, or, you know what I mean? So it seems like
this game was quite a shit bowl in the first quarter too. Neither team could really get anything going. The game was quite close.
I like defense.
True, yes. It was
that
a good
defense, the way man.
Both defenses, Derwin James on one side, you had DeForest Buckner on the Colts side. I mean, they were
Derwin James.
He got ejected for that hit.
I was glad to see I didn't know that they would eject right away.
Yeah.
So I was glad to see that when I saw that hit. It was just like, that doesn't need to be in the league, man.
Yes, but I would say this in Derwin James' defense: the game moves fast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that he did that intentionally. I think he was aiming his helmet at the ball, and when the player changed to a lower position, he wound up hitting him like in the head and the neck. I don't think Derwin James is a dirty player.
No, I don't think so. He's one of my favorite defensive players. I think he's one of the best safeties in the league. But I think that he even said, he kept pointing, like you could tell he was saying, I led with my shoulder. You didn't lead with your shoulder, bro. And that's the problem. Your shoulder hit him, but you led with your helmet. And that's the thing that's got to change. It's tough. I know that.
Yep.
The only way, honestly, to stop that is to remove the helmets. But that's not going to happen.
That would be interesting, yeah.
I think that would really help if they remove the helmets. Nobody would lead with their head if they didn't have helmets on.
Well, the other benefit from removing the helmets is that we would get to see we'd get a better look at Mr. Young, Gifted, and White on a daily basis.
They would never stop.
Yeah. He's so handsome when he throws the ball. Does anyone throw a more handsome deep ball?
I know, right?
Okay. Look, he clinched a playoff spot for the LA Chargers. First time since 2018. His first trip to the postseason. He was pretty good. 24 for 31, 235 yards. No touchdowns. Did throw a pick. Austin Eckler was... it was like Herbert was hitting like Keenan Allen and Mike Williams for these deep shots.
Yeah.
And he would get them.
No, he would hit Keenan Allen on the run and Allen would get it down. But
yeah, and that would get him into the red zone, and then Eckler would barrel in for the touchdown. So that was kind of how they got most of their points. As we suggested, Nick Foles was terrible with a capital T. 17 for 29, 143 yards, no touchdowns, obviously. 3 very, very bad, definitely all his fault interceptions.
No tip, no. He threw bad.
No.
Yeah, it was bad.
You know what I kept thinking when I watched it? I felt like they must have just sat Nick Foles down before the game and showed him like Justin Herbert tape and probably asked him like, hey, can you do that? To which he replied, I can try. But no, he could not.
No.
The Colts were dreadful all around. They got sacked 7 times. They
weren't dreadful all around. Their defense was good, man.
That's true. The defense was good. But I mean on offense, and they only averaged like roughly 3 yards per play. They were 0 for 10 on third downs.
Yeah, it was
and this stat is crazy. Listen to this. In the Jeff Saturday era.
Oh. This long era. This is the only beginning of this era, but continue.
But this makes it even worse.
Yeah.
How many games has he coached?
3 or 4, something like that. 5 games maybe.
In the Jeff Saturday era, the Colts have been outscored in the fourth quarter 90-9. 90-9. I'll say it again. 90-9.
That's a damn shame. That's like,
dude.
Come on, man. I think their next coach is waiting now that Hackett's been fired. I think they should just go on in there and bring Hackett in.
90-9, bro.
That's ridiculous, bro.
That's bad.
Yeah.
I'm actually really glad that the Chargers made the playoffs. I like the idea that Herbert is in the playoffs. I really do. I like him as a quarterback. I do think that he gets he's a bit overrated because he is so handsome.
He looks like the guy in the movie that plays the high school quarterback, and that's what everybody wants. And it's like,
which is not his fault. It's not his fault.
No,
it's not his fault that he's so handsome. It's not his fault that that I'm sexually attracted to him. That in a dark room, on a trip away from home, maybe a White Lotus situation, I might just be like, you know what, fuck it. He's a good-looking dude. It's not his fault.
No, that has nothing to do with him. That's all your fault.
It's probably my fault. If I wound up cheating on my wife with Justin Herbert, that would definitely be my fault. But I don't. As much as I like the fact that they're in the playoffs,
Would that count as an interception? Because he's good at those.
Yeah, maybe. But he we'll see how good his deep ball is in that situation for sure.
All right, let's get to the superlatives, man.
Yeah.
You got a real MVP, or you want me to go first?
You can go ahead. Mine's a little long.
Yeah, mine is too. But yeah, let's do it. My MVP this week goes to someone that has flown under the radar a bit. This person had their shot at running the show out in Arizona, but was relieved of his duties after only one season. He's currently a part of the class action lawsuit against the NFL while thriving as an employee. He was just a coordinator when this year began, but then his coach got fired when that team looked like utter shit. Then the front office jettisoned their best players in order to prepare for the future. If you don't know by now, I'm talking about Steve Wilks.
I like this.
He's taken this gutted and directionless Panthers team and given them an identity. This team had every right to pack it up and zombie walk through the rest of the season, but Wilks has them playing hard and winning games we thought they shouldn't. The Lions were supposed to be that squad that had the NFC on notice. They were taking teams to the abyss. Well, not Carolina. That superior Lions roster got taken to task on this day when Wilks squeezed every drop out of run game he could out of Hubbard and Freeman, hanging over 300 yards on this physical Lions team. The defense was flying around, wreaking havoc, and making Dan Campbell do his frustrated lip purse over and over again. Wilks is making the league realize that he just might be the real deal. He didn't get a fair shake in Arizona. Him being on Brian Flores' lawsuit might well make him a pariah. But one thing's for sure, this past week, Steve Wilks.
You the real MVP.
I like that. That's pretty good.
What you got?
I'm going to go with some historical type MVP shit.
Okay.
Because I'm going to go with Franco Harris. Chances are, if you know the name, it's likely because of the Immaculate Reception, which was probably one of the most iconic moments in NFL history. 1972, it's the playoffs. Oakland Raiders, when they were the Oakland Raiders, down 7-6 with only 22 seconds left on the clock. Franco's fingertip catch off of a botched pass, inches from the ground, no gloves, mind you, takes it to the house for the Steelers' first ever playoff win in the history of their franchise. I feel quite honored to have been forming many of my early football memories during the Franco Harris era. This dude was drafted in the first round in 1972, over 1,000 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns.
Damn.
Had him as a lock for Rookie of the Year. Dude was selected to 9 consecutive Pro Bowls, rushed for over 1,000 yards in 8 seasons, breaking a record once held by Jim Brown.
Wow.
He's a 4-time Super Bowl winner and was the MVP in Super Bowl IX when they defeated the Minnesota Vikings. 1976 NFL rushing touchdown leader, 1970s all-decade team, and also obviously a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was also the first African-American and first Italian-American to be named a Super Bowl MVP.
Oh, wow.
His father was black. He was a soldier during the Second World War, and he met and married a lovely Italian woman while stationed in Europe. And in his 13 professional seasons, Harris gained 12,120 yards. It was third all time at the time.
Wow.
I mean, his a lot of people look at him as like he is the Immaculate Reception, but what a lot of people don't realize is that this guy had an insanely successful career.
Yeah, he's not a helmet catch situation.
No,
David
dude, this
Tyree.
guy. No, absolutely not. He was an absolute legend. Sadly, he died only a few days before the NFL was set to honor the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, as well as the retirement of his jersey number 32. Franco wasn't just an NFL player. who's known for that one catch. He was an absolute icon. In a lot of ways, he is the NFL. So for week 16, I'm saying that Franco Harris,
You're the real MVP.
Wow. Great, man. That was great. Once again, I'm glad you went last because I would have felt stupid if I went. Oh, so now I got Steve Wilkes.
No, man, I like your point. I like it.
All right. Trash for the week. At first, I didn't want to pile on. But isn't that what you're supposed to happen to trash? It just gets piled on.
That's just a good point.
So for the last time probably ever, I'm going to be able to tell head coach Nathaniel Hackett that he's trash. We all knew he was in over his head. He was supposed to be an offensive savant, but he couldn't figure out how to make it work with Russell Wilson. He had to hire an in-game decision-making for situational football. He was kept around out of the kindness of the same people that hire our grandparents who outlive their retirement money and have to greet people at Walmart. Of course, they would let him finish the season, right? We leave it to Nathaniel to feel secure. Leave it to Nathaniel to feel secure in his job and roll into L.A. completely unprepared and get embarrassed by the Rams and their brand new quarterback, Baker Mayfield, that probably knows 45% of their playbook by now. That's who you lost to, Nathaniel? The one thing that the Broncos had going for them was defense, and they didn't even pinch the Rams. Nathaniel has been the trashiest of trash all year, and it culminated by him finally getting canned after way too long. I can't help but wonder how it is that he ever got the job in the first place. There's no way he was a good interview, right? No way this dude was a good interview. It's a damn shame that the sport we love has people like Nathaniel Hackett leading a team where people like Steve Wilkes and Eric Bieniemy are waiting in the wings for a team to take a chance on them, in quotations. Hopefully teams have learned their lesson and won't hire Nathaniel Hackett as a head coach in the future because Nathaniel Hackett.
You are trash!
Agreed.
I still can't.
Somebody had to send him out with the trash. I also have someone that I would like to label as trash, based on the fact that I believe this could too be the last opportunity that we get to do this, because I personally do not think that we're going to see this player on an NFL football field anytime soon. That's right. I'm talking about Zach Wilson. For starters, it did not help that you went up against the guy who was picked right above you in the 2021 draft in T-Law and Associates, a quarterback who seems to be getting better. He seems to be getting better and smarter with every start, especially now that he has an actual grown-up coaching him in the right way. Zach Wilson is my least favorite type of quarterback. The kind that acts like he's supposed to be good even when everyone else can see how fucking terrible this kid is. The kind of quarterback who puts up one good season of college football, scores 50 to 60 points on the regular against teams like Navy or Troy or Texas State. The scouts misread what he is, which is not his fault, but they put him on a pedestal. And to the Jets' credit, in year one, they start to see what this kid's what the kid needed, and they did what they had to do, right? They went out and they got this kid. They got him some weapons, right? They got him running back to relieve some of the load. They built a playoff caliber defense so that he doesn't have to put the team on his shoulders. They went out and got him some good receivers. The Jets did everything they could to set up Zach Wilson for success, but this kid failed on every level imaginable. His win total in his 2 seasons is 8-14. His completion percentage is barely over 15%, and his TD to interception ratio is 15 touchdowns to 18 interceptions.
Whoa.
The Jets reportedly are moving on from Wilson, according to what came out yesterday. Smartly so, but I'll go one step further by saying that I don't really see a reason for any of the other 31 teams to even want this kid as a backup. I think he's a bust. I think he's a pampered, entitled piece of shit. And yes, I think Zach Wilson is trash.
You are trash!
One more thing on him. Didn't he hold out? Like before the season started, didn't he like demand like a contract thing? Like I as far as I remember, I thought he did that, right? I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure that he was like one of the ones that was just, it was surprising.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't.
Zach Wilson and Jets agreed to contract ending his brief holdout. Yeah, he held out before he got started.
Held out, and then he comes back like this.
Like this. It's like he knew he was trash. Or the camp knew. Like he probably had some type of guarantee in there. Yep, his signing bonus, which is the guarantee, was $22.9 million signing bonus, and his four-year contract projected to be worth $35 million. And it's fully guaranteed. His contract is fully guaranteed. That's what it was. I remember he got a fully guaranteed 4-year contract projected to be worth $35 million, including a signing bonus of $22.9 million. So
I think he's a bust. I think he's the next Josh Rosen. I think he's a bust.
Damn. And where's Rosen at now? Jeez. Oh wow. I thought it was something ring a bell there. All right, shit got learned. You want to go or you want me to
go? Doesn't matter.
I'll knock it out. My shit that got learned hurts a little bit. Uh-oh. This Mike McDaniel razzle-dazzle shit has been figured out, and he better adjust before he's on the outside looking in. I was just like everyone else, looking at the shiny offense and marveling at the explosive plays. But the last 4 games, it's been shiny and fun in the first half, and then adjustment and frustration second half. That happened again this week. It's like the league knows, Mike, you're going to put a speedy guy in motion and target deep middle of the field and hit Hill or Waddle in stride. The defense adjusts to the speed, because that's probably the hardest part, is adjusting to the speed, and then they put everybody in the middle of the field. I saw one play where there were 5 Green Bay Packers just standing in the middle of the field waiting. And then Tua threw it right into that sea of defenders. But then the Dolphins have no clue what to do once that adjustment's made. It's adjustment time for what we thought was the boy wonder. I'm interested to see if he cooks up something new, because we learned that the antidote is out there. That's my shit that got learned.
I learned that the Minnesota Vikings might be the best fourth quarter team in the history of the NFL. 1 week after orchestrating the greatest comeback in NFL history, they go back and forth with the Giants, eventually registering not only their 8th fourth quarter comeback, which happens to be the most all year, but also their 11th win of a one-possession game, which happens to be the most historically in a single NFL season. Now, I say that I learned this, but I don't actually understand why it happens to be true. I don't know why it's happening. Because when you look at the first 3 quarters, and I looked this up, in nearly every offensive metric, like yards per play, offensive EPA, the Vikings actually rank in the bottom third of the league.
Damn.
So how they're able to flip the switch, I have no fucking clue. There's something about this team when their backs are up against the wall, when the chips are on the table, just when you think their goose is cooked, Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings find a way to just flip that switch and steal the W. I don't know how they do it. And every week it feels like people go, they're fake. They're this, they're that. And it keeps going. It's like, well, but when they get into the playoffs, what are they going to do then? They're going to get exposed. They're an 11-win team.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's true. Scariest team, AFC.
It feels like a bit of a coin toss at the moment.
Yep, same.
I feel like you could either go Bills or Chiefs or Bengals, but
that's what I have. The Chiefs / Bengals / Bills is what I have.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Chiefs.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go MVP. Chiefs. I'm gonna go Chiefs, partly because of the MVP, but also because if if this last game is any indication that they have managed to sort of sort out their defensive issues, then the rest of the league is in trouble.
Yeah, and I felt like the Bills had some trouble with the Bears, even though the score makes it look like it, but they were losing at the half. And then the Bengals had some trouble with the Patriots where they couldn't put up any points in the second half. So the Chiefs kind of, scariest NFC team. I think the Eagles going toe-to-toe with the Cowboys without their quarterback makes them even scarier, even in a loss. So I got to go with the Eagles on that.
I agree, but I decided to go with the 49ers.
Oh yeah, that's
the way this team is built to withstand the loss of 2 starting quarterbacks, only to come out and just keep whooping ass with a 3rd-string quarterback who also happens to be Mr. Irrelevant. On top of that, you got George Kittle finally living up to expectations.
Good point.
Purdy unlocks George Kittle. Who thought that was coming? Bosa is all but a lock for Defensive Player of the Year. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of the dudes who can kill you on that 49ers defense.
That's true.
Everyone thought they were finished when Jimmy G went down, myself included. But this has to be the last team anybody wants to play going into the postseason right now.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I would pick them over the Eagles if they played each other. All right, final one. Put some spec on the name. Mine is Baker Mayfield, man.
Let's go.
He's kind of a punchline. They tried to force him down our throats with all these commercials and shit. But the guy bounced to his 3rd team and hit the ground running. I didn't know he was capable of a 24 for 28, 250-yard performance, but he sure is. He just did it. I was ready to doubt like the rest of them, but this past week, Baker Mayfield told us all to
put some respect on my name.
I'm going to go with your MVP, interim head coach of the Carolina Panthers, Steve Wilkes.
Yeah.
Maybe they make the playoffs, maybe they don't, but this dude has really got this team playing hard as hell. And the way he has managed a team that at times kind of seemed like it was collapsing in on itself has been very impressive. In a world where Jeff Saturday can jump the line to become a head coach, I feel like naming Wilkes the real head coach will help to restore some sanity to the NFL and get rid of this idea that we can just start pulling dudes off of the street to do one of the hardest jobs in football.
Yeah.
So I think we need to put some respect on Steve Wilkes' name.
I like it, man.
Put some respect on my name.
All right, man. This is it's been a long one, but a fun one. Another good week of football. Thank y'all for checking it out. As always, it's been fun, and we'll be back, man. Doing what we do here. More NFL coming. There's only 2 weeks left. So stick with us, man. Thanks so much. It's been Jonathan Rollins.
Skip me, Sarah.
With SveNFL. We'll be back with the predictions for next week. And when I finally overtake Schif and flip him, pick him.
We'll see about that.
We'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Later, y'all.
Get serious, get a job. You better get yourself a job. Get serious.